Good evening, people. Welcome back to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. And as always, we've got an absolutely massive show for you guys tonight. But before we jump into that, please do smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. So on the show this evening, we are going to be talking a little bit about a player who was on the brink of signing for Manchester United. Now, it's not the most exciting name, but we will talk about that in a minute. We'll also be talking about the striker situation, as it looks like Erik ten Hag has now shifted his attention over to the attacking area of the pitch and might even be willing to put the midfielder by the wing side and go straight for an attacker. We will be talking about that. We will, of course, be talking about the goalkeeper situation. There's all sorts of craziness going on around that at Manchester United right now. We're going to be talking a little bit about Jean-Claire Todibo. There's another story coming out this afternoon reporting that Manchester United are set to make a bid for him. Seems a bit strange to me, but we'll talk about that, of course. We'll also talk a bit about Rasmus Haaland. We've got some news on him, a little bit about Amrabat, a bit about Alvaro Fernandez. But yeah, let's jump straight on into it. As always, do get involved in the comments section. I try and make it as interactive as possible, so I would like to know you guys' opinions. Right. Let's start off with a couple of outgoings then. Two players have officially left the club today. The first one is Brandon Williams. We can now confirm that Brandon Williams has left Manchester United and joined Ipswich Town in the Championship on a season-long loan. There is a buy option as well. So at the end of the season, Ipswich will have the opportunity to buy Brandon Williams. The only slight issue with this is he has 1 year left on his deal, okay? So Manchester United would have to execute their... They have an option to add an extra year on his contract. So Manchester United will have to decide somewhere in the middle of the season whether they do that or not. And maybe he'll stay at Ipswich Town permanently. I think it's a good move for him. I wish him all the best. I'm glad he's not on Manchester United anymore because he definitely needed to go. So goodbye, Brandon Williams. I wish you all the best in your career. The second player who's left today, which I'm a little bit unsure about, but I trust Erik ten Hag, and if he thinks it's the right decision, then so be it. The next player is no other than Noam Emeren. Obviously, someone who was quite heavily involved in the pre-season tour of America. He has now completed his move to FC Groningen in Holland. The deal is only worth £850,000 though, and apparently there is also a sell-on clause, which is apparently around 25% of any future sales. Now, at first I thought, oh, this is quite good, you know, 850,000. Maybe not good, but I thought, you know, if Erik ten Hag doesn't want him, it's the best for the player's career. Let him go to another club, you know, and let him try. Let him try and become, you know, the player that he probably thinks he can be. And then someone told me, I mean, I couldn't believe this. I honestly could not believe this. All right, you guys probably are unaware of what I'm about to say. Manchester United, right, bought Noam Emeren for their youth academy 4 years ago for €2 million. So in 2019, we bought him from a side in France, which I can't pronounce their name, for €2 million. We've just had him here for 4 years. We take him on the pre-season tour, and now we've just sold him for €1 million. I mean, you literally couldn't make it up, could you? I thought he was from the youth academy. I thought he'd, you know, come through since a really young age and was somebody that was going to be 100% profit. But technically, we've actually made a loss on this one. We bought him for $2 million. We build his career for 4 years, and then we let him go for $1 million. So I don't know. When I saw that, I was like, oh my God, it gets worse. But it is what it is, isn't it? Let's wish him all the best. Let's hope he goes off and has a good career. Obviously, he was never going to get any game time at Manchester United, realistically, was he? He was never going to play in the first team. If Palistri's having to go out on loan, if, you know, Ahmad's barely getting any game time even when he's fit, I don't see Noam Emeren getting any game time. So I wish him all the best. Hopefully he has a really good career over at FC Groningen in the Dutch league. Yeah, see, maybe we'll hear about him again in the future, but probably won't, realistically, will we? So those are the two players who have left the club today. They're confirmed, they're gone. We are working on more outgoings though, so we will talk about those really quickly. Now, there is a story coming out this afternoon saying the following, and it's about Scott McTominay. I know this is somebody who a lot of you really, really want to leave the club, me included, purely just because I think he'll raise a good amount of money. Now, the story coming out this afternoon is saying that Scott McTominay is braised for further interest from West Ham. Now, we did speak about this a couple of days ago on the show, didn't we, where I said, I honestly think West Ham are going to come back into the market for Scott McTominay. I know they've got James Ward-Prowse. I know they're on the brink of signing Kudos from Ajax, but I think they're going to go back in for Scott McTominay. And this story that's come out this afternoon is saying that West Ham are set to reignite their interest in McTominay. We don't know how much the deal will be worth. We don't know how much they'll offer, but obviously their first bid was £30 million and was rejected outright by Manchester United. Manchester United reportedly wants somewhere around 40 to 45, including add-ons, for Scott McTominay, which I think is realistic. Maybe 35 plus 5 or 10 in add-ons, something like that. I think that would be a realistic price. But yeah, let me know what you think about Scott McTominay. Do you think he will leave the club? Yeah, and do you think that's a realistic goal to get Scott McTominay out by the end of the season? And if we did get rid of Scott McTominay, where would you invest that money? Who would you go and sign? Let me know in the comment section, as I always love to see what you guys have to say about these things. Right, let's move over to Jean-Claire Todibo, another player which I know a lot of you are really, really excited about. So we've had 2 stories come out today since we spoke this morning. One's coming from L'Equipe in France, obviously the French newspaper, and they are reporting that Nice expect Manchester United to sign Jean-Claire Todibo before the transfer window closes. It goes on to say that speculation cooled last week after Maguire's 30 million switch to West Ham fell through, but it seems that all hasn't settled at Nice. Todibo is believed to be keen on a move to Manchester United. I still have this feeling that Harry Maguire is going to go. I do. I just have this feeling. I can just imagine maybe on deadline day, us getting the story, Aston Villa, West Ham, somebody puts in a bid for Harry Maguire. I can see it happening. I really, really can. Obviously, he wasn't part of the squad against Tottenham, which caused concern or question marks, let's call it. We obviously will be doing a video for Ten Hag's press conference tomorrow, so it'll be interesting to see what Erik Ten Hag says about Harry Maguire tomorrow. But for me, I think he's going to go. I do. And I think Jean-Claire Todibo would be a really, really solid replacement. And then there's another story coming out from a newspaper in the UK today saying that Erik Ten Hag has set his sights on signing Nice defender Jean-Claire Todibo ahead of the transfer deadline, with talks over a deal believed to be in motion. So this newspaper are even reporting that we're actually negotiating with Nice at the moment over this deal. Now, does this mean that behind the scenes, Manchester United are working on a deal to get rid of Maguire, and maybe simultaneously they're working on this deal for Jean-Claire Todibo? I know it maybe sounds a bit crazy at this moment in time because everybody's feeling really negative. Everybody's saying they're not doing any transfers, they're not doing any signings, but I wouldn't be surprised. I really, really wouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if something's going on behind the scenes, and I wouldn't be surprised if Manchester United do get rid of Harry Maguire before the end of the window. But let me know in the comments section what you think about this one. Do you think Harry Maguire will still be here at the end of the season, or do you think we can get rid of him and get in Jean-Claire Todibo? And maybe you don't want Jean-Claire Todibo. Maybe there's somebody you want instead. Let me know in the comment section. As always, I do like to see what you guys have to say. Now, moving on to the next story, and this is one that I really, really like. Really good news. This is coming out from Christian Falk, who is obviously, I would say, the best Bayern Munich journalist. He pretty much exclusively reports on Bayern Munich. He obviously writes for Sport Bild over in Germany. Really, really good journalist. His handle is at Christian Falk on Twitter for anybody who hasn't heard of him. And he is reporting within the last hour that Thomas Tuchel is now open to letting Ryan Grafenberg leave the club this summer. So that was the stumbling block with the Ryan Grafenberg deal. We were being told that Thomas Tuchel apparently wanted to keep him at the club. Ryan Grafenberg wanted to leave. He wanted to get game time. He wanted to reunite with Erik Ten Hag. This new bit of news that comes out today really puts us in a strong position if we do want to go ahead with this Grafenberg deal. The player wants to come, and Thomas Tuchel is happy for him to leave the club. And those are the two bits that we really, really need. Those are the two bits that actually allow this deal to happen. And this is one that I can see happening. I can see us going in for a loan with an obligation or maybe an option to buy before the end of the window. We know Manchester United like to do loan moves in the last kind of 2 to 3 days of the window. And I think this is one that will happen. But do let me know in the comment section what you think about Ryan Grafenberg. Is he somebody you would like to see at Manchester United? Do you think he's good enough? Do you think he would suit the Premier League? I think he would. I think he would be incredible. And when you look at the options we have in midfield today, Mason Mount's injured, Kobe Mainoo's injured. All you have now is Eriksen, Casemiro, Bruno, and McTominay. Donny van de Beek's gone. Donny van de Beek's pretty much gone. Fred's gone. We only have 4 midfielders now, and we have 3 midfield positions to fill. That's not enough. We should have a backup for each one of those areas, right? We should have a backup for Casemiro. We don't have. We should have a backup for Bruno. That should be Mount when he's fit. And then the other one, I think we need another midfielder to go in that midfield three, because it hasn't worked so far with Mason Mount, Bruno, and Casemiro as a midfield three. It's too attacking, and it just hasn't worked, I don't think. So I think Grafenberg is absolutely essential. And I also think that, you know, him and Amrabat would be absolutely quality. But let me know what you think about that one in the comment section. Are you feeling confident enough with what we have in our midfield at the moment? Do you feel confident for the next 5 to 6 weeks with only having Casemiro, Bruno, Eriksen and Scott McTominay? And Scott McTominay could leave. We could be down to 3 midfielders before you know it. Obviously, Mason Mount's out for 4 to 6 weeks. Kobe Mainoo's out for a couple of months. Our options are looking really, really thin in that area. And it was already a problem at the beginning of the season. Everybody was very, very concerned about our midfield for the first 2 games of the season. And for our midfield to be even weaker now with Mason Mount being injured, Fred leaving, and Scott McTominay looking like he's going to leave as well. We need 2 midfielders. One's not going to be enough. And I fully endorse this Ryan Grafenberg deal, especially if it's a loan with an obligation to buy next summer. It keeps us within our financial fair play restraints, and it just allows us to go and get somebody in who's young, who's hungry, who knows what Erik ten Hag expects of him. And I do think he'll do well in the Premier League. I really, really do. But let me know in the comment section what you think about Ryan Grafenberg. Is he somebody you want in Manchester United? Or is there somebody else you would prefer to see? Now, keeping on the topic of midfielders, we are going to talk a little bit about Sofyan Amrabat. I know a lot of you in the chat are getting absolutely sick to death with Sofyan Amrabat, but we have had an update coming out from Sky Sports this afternoon, and they're saying that Fiorentina and Sofyan Amrabat are waiting for Manchester United to make a formal move. Okay, well, that's not exactly news, is it? They go on to say that Fiorentina have left the player out of their squad to face Rapid Vienna in the Europa Conference League tonight. So for anybody who is unaware, Amrabat is training on his own, away from the rest of the team, and he's also not part of any of the game squads. He's literally waiting. He's waited all summer to come to Manchester United. He agreed personal terms back in June. DiMarzio reported that a couple of weeks ago. 2 months he's been waiting, and he's now not even playing games for Fiorentina. So is there something weird going on behind the scenes? Have Manchester United changed their mind? Or are we simply just waiting to bring in money? I don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to this question. It's a little bit confusing. And then we've got another story coming out about Amrabat saying Manchester United are in pole position to sign Sofyan Amrabat. He is training alone as he awaits a move. Amrabat is United's top target, but they need to sell players to raise funds. So this story again saying that we need to sell people. You know, who's that going to be? Where are we going to get money? The only 2 people who are worth any money realistically are Scott McTominay and Harry Maguire. Those are the 2 most obvious players to leave the club. And there's one other person we'll talk about in a minute. I know people will say, what about Anthony Martial? What about this person? I just don't think selling Anthony Martial is that realistic at this moment in time. But let me know what you think. Do you think Anthony Martial will leave the club? I think he's probably going to stay here. And you know what? In some ways, we probably do need him at this moment in time. We have Rasmus Haaland, who's injured, and that's it in the striker positions. There is a story coming out from Fabrizio Romano, and he's saying, this is a quote from the Fiorentina CEO. He says, Sofyan Amrabat is not working with the squad, but we still have not received any official bids for Amrabat. If there are players who are unhappy here, we can start considering bids for them, of course. So he's pretty much as good as handed in a transfer request. He's not training with the squad. He's not playing matches. Why are Manchester United being so pathetic about this? Like, I don't get it. Surely they can agree some sort of terms which allow them to align with their financial fair play rules, you know? Surely they could do like a 10 million this year, 20 million next year, something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's usually how transfers work. So I don't really get it. And I do feel bad for Amrabat. He's literally just begging now to come to Manchester United. And we're just taking the mick out of him, really, aren't we? We're completely taking the mick. And if this one doesn't happen, then I think it's an absolute disgrace. I really, really do. But let me know what you think about Amrabat. Do you think he's just going to be that player that we talk about all window and he doesn't come? Or do you think there's actually some truth in this story and that he will sign for Manchester United? Now, keeping on the topic of outgoings, before we do that, actually, can everybody who's watching please smash a like on the video and please subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thank you very much. Now, let's talk a little bit about Dean Henderson. Okay, so Dean Henderson, we have a bit of an update on this one. And you know what? I like this update. I really, really do. So this is coming out from a journalist in the UK this afternoon. And they are reporting that Manchester United are looking for around £20 million for Dean Henderson. It goes on to say that Crystal Palace are interested because of the surprise chance to land a top internationally ranked player. And then we have another journalist also coming out saying that apparently Manchester United are no longer interested in loaning out Dean Henderson. They want to sell him, which I agree with. Why would you loan out Dean Henderson? You need to sell him. You've got someone sat on the bench who's worth 20 million plus. A £20 million asset is sat there. What logic is there in loaning him out? Zero. Absolutely zero. So I'm glad that it's only taken Manchester United 3 months to realise that they need to sell him, not loan him. And hopefully Crystal Palace do come in and get this one over the line. I think their goalkeeper at the moment, I can't remember what his name is, but the Crystal Palace goalkeeper's had a really poor start to the season, and I don't think he's that great anyway. So I think that's why they are looking at Dean Henderson. They've got Johnston, who obviously used to play for Manchester United, didn't he? Oh no, this is different Johnston. They've got Johnston. Yeah, they're desperate. Sorry, he did play for Manchester United, yeah. So they've got Sam Johnston as their main goalkeeper, who, let's be honest, is not of the level of Dean Henderson. £20 million for Dean Henderson. I think that's a very, very fair price. So hopefully this one happens. And you know what? In the last week, we've got about a week left of the window. Dean Henderson for 20, McTominay for 35, and Harry Maguire for 30. That's a combined £85 million there. For that, you go and get Amrabat for 30. You can go and get Marcus Leonardo, who we'll talk about in a minute, for around 20. And then you're still left with about 35 to go and get Jean-Claire Todibo. It's simple. I've just worked it out off the top of my head without any planning or thought behind it. You sell those 3 players, you reinvest the money, get Jean-Claire Todibo, get Amrabat, get Marcus Leonardo, and then also get Grafenberg on a loan. Easy. Like, no one, you don't have to be a scientist to work that one out, do you? But let me know what you think about that. Do you think I'm in absolute dreamland, or do you think any of this is realistic? I think it can happen, but obviously maybe this is me just being optimistic. Let's wait and see. Right, let's talk about the striker situation then, because this is really, really interesting. Now, there's a story coming out this afternoon saying that apparently Erik ten Hag has changed his main transfer target to a striker after Mason Greenwood was removed. It goes on to say that Manchester United are now trying to hijack Roma's priority signing Marcus Leonardo. So obviously all window we've been told Amrabat's the priority, Amrabat this, Amrabat that. But has things changed since Mason Greenwood isn't coming back to the club? That's what this story coming out this afternoon from Gazzetta in Italy is reporting. That, and I think it makes sense. I think it does. Erik ten Hag's been told all summer that he's going to have Mason Greenwood back. He's getting an extra striker, an extra winger, whatever you want to class Mason Greenwood as. 24, 48 hours ago, he's now had that option taken away from him. If I'm Erik ten Hag, I'm absolutely fuming. I'm saying, well, we've got rid of Alanga. We've got rid of, obviously, Ronaldo went in January. We've got rid of Ronaldo. We've now got rid of Mason Greenwood. Mason Mount's injured. Amad Diallo's injured. When you actually look at our attacking options now, it's so limited. Rasmus Haaland's injured. You've got Rashford, Antony, Garnacho and Sancho. And Pellistri, who's going out on loan. And that's pretty much it. We've got about 4 people who are fit and able to play on the game on Saturday. We need another striker, desperately. Or at least another attacking player. Whether it's an out-and-out striker is up for debate. We need at least somebody who can operate in any of those front 3 positions in the Manchester United attack. And this Marcus Leonardo guy, he doesn't tick that box, to be fair. He is an out-and-out striker. He is a goal scorer. He can't play on the wing, as far as I'm aware. But he's only 20 years of age. So maybe, you could try him in those positions if you really wanted to. But if you want to be fair in the argument, Rasmus Haaland played on the wing quite a lot last season for Atalanta. So maybe Rasmus Haaland is the versatile forward that can play in all of those positions. And you bring in Marcus Leonardo as the option to play as the out-and-out striker. Let me know what you think about that one in the comment section. Yeah, let me know what you think about that one in the comment section. Do you think that Marcus Leonardo would be a good addition to the squad? I'm all for it. He's available for somewhere around 17 million euros. The story coming out this afternoon from various different journalists in Italy is that apparently Manchester United are set to hijack Roma's deal for Marcus Leonardo. Apparently Roma have agreed a 17 million euros deal with Santos for Marcus Leonardo. And Manchester United are apparently trying to hijack it now. I mean, if we got him for that amount of money, 17 million euros, I don't want to say it's nothing, but it's about 14 million pounds. It's not a hell of a lot of money when we've just spent 70 million euros on Rasmus Haaland. And let's be honest here, right? I know Marcus Leonardo is playing in the Brazilian league, but he scored way more goals in his career so far. He's the same age as Rasmus Haaland. He scored way more goals than him. He's obviously in the Brazilian under-21 squad as well, so he is playing on international level. I think he'd be a great addition. I really, really do. But let me know in the comments section what you think about this. Do Manchester United hijack this deal, or do you think that maybe it's one that we miss? I mean, he's played 83 matches in the Brazilian league already in his career. 83. It's pretty solid, isn't it? He averages a goal every other game, roughly, which is not bad at all, is it, for someone who's only 20 years of age? A goal every other game. I know that is the Brazilian league, but I would definitely go for this signing, and it does look like Manchester United are interested. as we all know, Interested FC, aren't we? Interested FC, Linked to FC, Negotiations FC. You know how it goes. Now, talking about someone who actually looks like they're going to sign for Manchester United in the next couple of hours or even days is Altay Bayindir from Fenerbahce. So there's 2 or 3 different stories that we need to get into on this one for you now. There's a video circulating on Twitter in the last couple of minutes. Fenerbahce had a game this evening against Twente. I think it's a Europa Conference League qualifier. And Altay Bayindir comes out before the game and is waving goodbye to all of the Fenerbahce fans, you know, saying his goodbyes. He wasn't playing in the match. And it does look like he now will be signing for Manchester United. The deal is apparently going to be worth £5.1 million to Fenerbahce, as well as a solidarity contribution, which I'm not sure what that means, taking the total fee to just under £6 million. So we're going to pay about £6 million for this guy. He already did a medical a couple of days ago. I think it was in Turkey. Apparently now, the story's coming out this afternoon, say Altay Bayindir has said goodbye to the Fenerbahce fans ahead of a move to Manchester United. And it says that he will now do a second medical in the UK. It says Altay Bayindir is set to undergo a second Manchester United medical when he arrives in England. He will then meet the Manchester United bosses to discuss the final details of the transfer. So it looks like this one will happen. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not going to be jumping for joy about this. We need a striker. We need a midfielder. But obviously with the news that Onana is going to go to the African Cup of Nations in January, we desperately need a goalkeeper. We do. Dean Henderson's clearly not part of the project. Dean Henderson looks like he's going to be pushed out of the project. So we desperately need to bring in this guy. We really, really do. I don't think Tom Heaton's good enough for me personally to be playing every single game in the Premier League. So I'm relatively happy about this. I think £6 million for a 25-year-old who's already the first team goalkeeper for Turkey. A couple of my friends who watch some more Turkish league football said he's good. You know, he's a similar profile to Onana. He passes out from the back. He's good at distribution. I think it's a good signing. I'm happy about it. You know, as I said, I'm not going to be jumping for joy, but it makes sense. It's a logical signing. And the key bit of information here as well, another journalist in the UK has just reported that Erik ten Hag has apparently approved the signing of Altay Bayindir. So Erik ten Hag wants him, and that's the most important thing, because we should be backing our manager. We should be bringing people in that Erik ten Hag wants at the club. And if Erik ten Hag wants Altay Bayindir and he doesn't want Dean Henderson, I trust him. Go and get that deal done. Bring him in. Happy days. Happy days. 25-year-old. I'm happy with that one. But let me know in the comment section. I know it's not the most exciting one. I know some of you are at home screaming, I want a midfielder. I want a striker. I'm exactly the same. And it just shows how much I've let my expectations drop. That I'm genuinely sat here being positive about a goalkeeper I'd never heard of until a week ago. But that's just what it's like being a Manchester United fan at this moment in time. And that's why we need the Glazers gone. So just remind yourselves of how painful this transfer window has. And just, you know, when you're about to go to sleep at night, just have a little think about what could happen if the new owners come in. You know, just as you're about to go off into dreamland, have a little think about that. Right. We've got over 900 of you watching now, guys. Please do smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel if you are new here. We're on the road. We hit 15k subscribers earlier on today, guys, which is absolutely incredible. Big ups to every single one of you who watches the show every single day. I really, really do appreciate you. We're on the road to 20k now, so let's see how fast we can hit 20k. We're about 60 subscribers away from 15,200, so let's see if we can hit that by the end of today's video. I will read out some of your questions as well in the second half. So if you do have any questions, put the letter Q in front of your message, get it in the chat, and I will read out some of your questions. Right, let's crack on with the rest of the show though. So, I mean, again, this is another one which is probably going to make most of you want to rip your hair out, or whatever else it is you do when you get stressed out. Manchester United are close to agreeing a 1-year contract with Johnny Evans. This is coming out from The Telegraph. Now, this is coming out from James Ducker, who writes for The Telegraph. Now, before you all shout at me in the chat saying, why are you happy about Johnny Evans? This is a disgrace. Manchester City have just signed Gvardiol for 90 million and we're signing Johnny Evans. If the Johnny Evans contract facilitates Harry Maguire leaving, I'll be very, very happy. I'll be absolutely ecstatic. I will. And you know what? I think that this is what the plan is here. I think that Manchester United are giving Johnny Evans this contract so they have themselves a bit of security. If they do want to get a replacement for Harry Maguire, at least when they go knocking on the door of Nice saying, we want to buy Jean-Claire Todibo, Nice aren't sat there saying, they've just got rid of Harry Maguire, they're one centre-back short, let's mug them off. Because Manchester United can say, well, we're not desperate, we just gave Johnny Evans a contract for the season, so if you're not interested in doing a deal now, we might come back next summer, but we might not. Do you see where I'm going with this? It gives us a bit of bargaining power. It gives us a bit of leeway. Now, by no means am I saying I want to see Johnny Evans starting for Manchester United week on week. I would have no issues with him coming on for 10 minutes in the end of a game if we're winning 3 or 4-0. No problem whatsoever. But that's all I want for Harry Maguire. He's the 5th choice centre-back for me, Maguire. He is, behind Luke Shaw. The 5th choice centre-back. And I would be more than happy with having Johnny Evans sat on the bench with years of experience. He's won Premier Leagues, he's won Champions Leagues. That experience is so valuable. And Maguire doesn't have that. Get rid of Maguire, get the £30 million, and then just let Johnny Evans have his place. Maybe let him start a couple of games in the League Cup in the earlier stages. Maybe let him start in the FA Cup if we have an easy tie at home. Other than that, he's barely going to play. Yeah, let me know what you think about this one. I assume most of you are probably upset about it, saying, why the hell are we giving him a contract? He's rubbish. Just try and think about it how I've just explained it, though. Please, just try and think of it like that. If we're sat here in 2 weeks' time and Harry Maguire's here and Johnny Evans is here, then I'll be a bit like, why the hell did we sign Johnny Evans? But if this does facilitate the Maguire move, which I think it will, I think it's a good positive bit of information. Now, the reason that I think what I'm saying is there's a journalist in the UK coming out this afternoon saying that apparently Harry Maguire has been told that he will be the 5th choice centre-back behind Johnny Evans. So the order will be Martinez and Varane as the 2 first choice, Lindelof as 3rd choice, Johnny Evans as the 4th choice, and Harry Maguire as the 5th choice. So he's been told that Johnny Evans is ahead of him. That is an absolute insult. And if he doesn't want to leave after that, then shame on him, to be honest. And I would even argue that Luke Shaw's ahead of him. So I'd probably say he'd be the 6th choice centre-back. You know, it would be Johnny Evans, Luke Shaw, and then Harry Maguire. So hopefully this facilitates the move. I am happy for Johnny Evans, you know. He was a very, very loyal servant of the club. He won lots of things with us. He's very experienced. It is only a 1-year contract. We're not having to pay a signing on fee or any transfer fee. And the key bit of information here, guys, that you need to hear is James Ducker has also said Erik ten Hag has been impressed by what he has seen from Johnny Evans in training and felt he could prove an experienced option as cover at centre-half. So the key bit of information here is that, Erik ten Hag actually wants him. This isn't just a cheap option of not having to sign a centre-back. Erik ten Hag wants Johnny Evans. And if Erik ten Hag wants him, then give him a chance. That's my take on it. But let me know in the comment section what you think about this Johnny Evans deal. Let's just hope, right? Let's all just keep our fingers and toes crossed that my theory is correct and Johnny Evans is coming as the backup, right? And Harry Maguire is now going to leave. Let's all just pray that that is the case. But obviously until the end of the window, we're not going to know at this point, are we? Right, let's move on to the next story, though. Yeah, I mean, Simon says I'd have Johnny Evans over Harry Maguire all day long. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I do. Right, let's see where we are. Okay, let's move on to the next story, though. Let's keep things moving on the show tonight. Now, some positivity, because you know we like to do positivity on this channel. So we've had 2 or 3 different journalists this afternoon saying that Rasmus Haaland official Manchester United debut is set to be on Saturday for Manchester United against Nottingham Forest. So it looks like he will be involved in the game on Saturday. At this point, we're not sure whether it's going to be off the bench or starting. My guess is that it will be off the bench. I don't think he'll start the game against Nottingham Forest, but I do think he will get some game time, and that is what's being reported in the UK this afternoon. So really, really happy about that one. Do let me know in the comment section, are you excited to see Rasmus Haaland? And also, let me know how many goals you think he's going to get this season, because I think I said 15 in the Premier League. Let me know how many you think he's going to get in the Premier League. And then we'll look back at the end of the season and see who was the closest. Where are we? Right. This one's a little bit of a wild goose chase, all right? So bear with me on this one. Fabrizio Romano has come out this afternoon saying that Atletico Madrid's president has said the following on Xiao Felix. He says, it's very clear Xiao Felix doesn't want to play for Atletico Madrid. He goes on to say whether other teams want him, that's another debate. So he's completely frozen out of the Atletico Madrid project. He doesn't want anything to do with them. Is that a red flag? I think it is. I do. Apparently he's fallen out with Diego Simeone. The reason I bring this up is, do Manchester United now enter the race for Xiao Felix on loan as just a stopgap for a season? Is that something you guys would like to do? In theory, I would say yes, but I just think the amount of money that it would take to get this deal over the line would be absolutely astronomical. We know that they would want a fee. Somewhere around 20 million euros was being reported. He's on about 250 grand a week, which we'd have to cover as well. That's an extra 20 million roughly in wages. I think that the sheer amount of money that it would take to bring Xiao Felix to Manchester United is just a little bit ridiculous, to be honest. But let me know in the comment section what you think about him. Do you think he should come to Manchester United? As Fabrizio has reported today, he's clearly out of the project. It looks like his most likely destination is Manchester United. Not Manchester United, sorry, Barcelona. But do Manchester United enter the race for him? You know what? I would say no, we shouldn't. But knowing the Glazers, knowing Manchester United, this screams a Glazer signing, doesn't it? Try and silence the fans by signing João Felix in the last week of the window. That sounds exactly like what the Glazers would like to do, if you ask me. But let me know in the comment section what you think about that one, guys. Some of you are saying bring in Xiao Felix. Others are saying it will cost 40 million just for a loan, so we shouldn't do it. Others are saying yes, we should. Someone says Felix isn't what Manchester United or Erik ten Hag needs. I agree. I don't think he is the perfect option, really. I think just the sheer amount of money it would take is ridiculous. It really, really is. And I don't think he's even that good of a player. I know he's not world class, is he? Realistically, I don't think. He's one of those people who's just like a trendy name, I think, you know. He went there for massive money with high expectations. And I wouldn't really ever say that he lived up to his price tag for me personally. So I probably wouldn't go for him. But let me know in the comment section what you think about João Felix. Now, let's move on to the next story then. Let's talk a little bit about Alvaro Fernandez. Somebody who, you know what, I really, really would like to get some game time at Manchester United. Unfortunately, it looks like he is still being offered out, though. Samuel Luckhurst is reporting this afternoon that Manchester United sources say there remains significant interest in Alvaro Fernandez, and he would be available for either a loan or a permanent transfer this summer. Again, I think we need him. Our left-back position is looking really, really weak now. Malacia's out. Brandon Williams has just gone on loan. Malacia's injured. Who's going to be the backup left-back now? Who's going to be on the bench on Saturday as the backup left-back? What if Luke Shaw gets injured? What do we do then? I know Diogo Dalot can play there, but then who's the backup right-back? Do you see what I mean? We're one injury away from being in a real sticky situation. We've already found that in the midfield. We've already got that in the attack. You know, Mason Mount's injured, Kobe Mainoo's injured, Donny van der Beek's being frozen out of the team, Eriksen's not playing, Fred's gone. Like, our midfield is completely broken already. Our defence, in my opinion, is one injury away from being the same. If Luke Shaw gets injured, you don't have Malacia. Alvaro Fernandez has gone on loan. Brandon Williams has gone on loan. What do you do then? Okay, you put Diogo Dalot there, but then you have no backup for Dalot. What happens if Wan-Bissaka gets injured at right back? You've got no backup there. So, if you're being really, really critical of Manchester United now, I would say we need 3 or 4 signings now. And that's not even to compete. That's just to make sure that we don't go into an absolute injury crisis in the next couple of weeks. Because how long is Malacia out for? Nobody knows. Nobody knows whatsoever. I think it's going to be 2 or 3 months, someone said to me. 2 or 3 months he's out for. And we don't have any backups, really. So you just got to pray that Luke Shaw stays fit, because otherwise we're screwed, really, aren't we? But let me know in the comment section, what would you do with Alvaro Fernandez? Do you think we should keep him at Manchester United? And you know what? This just explains why Manchester United wanted to get Benjamin Pavard, because obviously he can cover at right back. It would have then given us that safety of knowing that if Luke Shaw got injured and Malacia was injured, you could put Dalot at left back and then Benjamin Pavard could cover at right back if Wan-Bissaka got injured. Do you see where I'm going with this? So many players are getting injured at the moment. And it does concern me. It really, really does. And as Malp says in the chat, the defence is looking very, very vulnerable. It is. Imagine if Varane gets injured and Luke Shaw gets injured. Just imagine that, okay? Then you've got Lindelof, which isn't too bad, okay? But then a left back, who have you got? Diogo Dalot? Like, we're close. We're close to being in trouble. Kevin says we're doomed. I wouldn't go as far as saying we're doomed at this point. I'm just saying you've got 3 months, give or take, until the January transfer window opens. And we need to make sure that we have cover in all of the positions. We should have somebody battling to get into their spot, right? We should have somebody literally knocking on the door saying, give me your spot at left back. But to think that we have nobody, and in the attack, we don't even have a striker on the pitch at the moment, it is concerning, it is. So I just want you all to remember that when you're all sat here saying, I know 99.9% of you watching this show don't say Erik ten Hag out, but just remember that. We don't have the squad depth of City. We don't have all of these options. We have already got a pretty bad injury issue. Yeah, there's a bit of breaking news coming out as well, actually, about Omari Forson, another player who looked really good in the pre-season. And it's saying that Erik ten Hag recently had conversations with Omari Forson regarding his future. It goes on to say that a loan/permanent move is a possibility. No contract extension talks as of yet. So it looks like another youth player could be leaving the club. I'm not sure what to think about that. I've kind of stopped being overly critical about youth players leaving, because I think we just have to trust Erik ten Hag. If he doesn't think they're good enough, then get rid of them. There's no point keeping youth players at the club and, you know, holding them back in their career if they've clearly got no future plan at Manchester United. That's my take on it, but let me know what you think about that one. I'm going to read out a couple of your questions in a minute, so if you do have any questions, get them in the live chat now, and please do make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Fred says, have you got a pair of boots, Kieran? I mean, it's going to come down to that, isn't it? That, you know, Erik ten Hag is going to be calling me up and be saying, I've seen you on YouTube. I kind of like what you say. I agree with some of it, but can you play football? And I'll say, well, not really. And he'll say, you're in. I'll be playing up front for Manchester United next week. You wait. You wait. I will. Mainu World says, Alvaro Fernandez leaving makes me sick to the stomach. I value him over Malacia. There you go. You know what? I don't disagree with you either. I don't think Malacia and Alvaro Fernandez are that far apart in ability at this moment in time. Now, I'm not saying that one or the other couldn't go on to be a much better player than the other one, but at this moment in time, I wouldn't say there's a massive difference between the two. Whereas if you compare Alvaro Fernandez with Luke Shaw, clearly they're miles apart. Malacia and Luke Shaw are miles apart. But yeah, I would agree with you. I don't think Malacia and Alvaro Fernandez are that different in ability at this moment in time. Amnat says Todibo coming, Amrabat coming, Grafenberg coming, Kudos coming. Do you really think any of these players are coming? I do. I'm staying positive. Call me deluded. Call me whatever you want, but I honestly think that we are going to get some deals done. Manchester United are always busy in the last weeks of the window. I remember signing Mata on transfer deadline day, 5 or 6 years ago. We always seem to do business at the end of the window. Last season, at the end of the window, we got Anthony and Casemiro. We spent 200 million out of nowhere. I'm confident we will spend some money. I just pray, right? I'm just praying that it doesn't take a bad result on Saturday against Nottingham Forest. I just hope to the death that we beat Nottingham Forest on Saturday. I really do, because not only will it be bad for Manchester United if we lose, but I don't even want to imagine what the internet's going to be like on Saturday evening if we've lost to Nottingham Forest. It's going to be absolutely horrible. I literally will have to go and camp in my garden in a tent and disable my internet, because yeah, it's going to be carnage if we lose to Nottingham Forest, or even if we draw. I think if we draw on Saturday, people are going to be absolutely fuming as well. We need to see we need to see a big scoreline on Saturday. We do. We need to build some confidence up again, because I understand everybody's frustrated. You're frustrated with the lack of transfers. You're frustrated with the poor start to the season. And my point there was, you know what Manchester United are like. They usually react after a bad scoreline, and I just hope that it isn't Saturday that kind of starts that off. Somebody says, what are your ideal 3 signings and which 4 players do you think will leave? So my 3 signings are Marcus Leonardo, Amrabat and Grafenberg. Grafenberg on loan, 30 million euros for Amrabat and 20 million euros for Marcus Leonardo. That's only 50 million euros total, so it's realistic. 3 players to leave. I think Dean Henderson, 20 million, Harry Maguire, 30 million, and McTominay, 35. Those are my 3 players that I think should leave. Whether they will or not, I don't know. Obviously, Donny van der Beek's another one, but we're not going to get any money for Donny, so I don't really care about it at this moment in time. Marcus says, didn't United get a 10-year, 900 million deal from Adidas? Shouldn't that give us 90 mil this season? Yeah, mate, I don't know what Manchester United are doing. You know what? I've completely given up on trying to work out the logical mass of our transfer windows. We're told we need to sell a player. We sell Fred. We sell Matis Kovar. We sell Noah Memorand. We raise around 25 million euros in transfer fees, right? That's how much we've raised. I think it was 9 million for Matis Kovar and around 15 million for Fred, and around 1 million for Emran. 25 million. That's enough to buy, Amrabat. Amrabat's apparently valued at 21 million pounds, which is, let me have a look. 21 million pounds it's around that amount of money. It's 24 million euros. So my point is, we've sold 3 players to bring in enough money for Amrabat, yet we're still being told we need to sell, we need to get rid of another midfielder. But the only other option at the moment is Donny van de Beek on loan. You don't get money for loans. It makes zero sense. So in relation to you up above there, Kevin's saying apparently the Adidas deal kicks in 2025. Okay, that makes sense. Acid Red Devil, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. Acid Red Devil says Glazonomics, 3 signings before deadline day. There you go. Exactly. That is exactly what the Glazers do. We'll have the look. Think about it, right? Just everybody take a minute. Let all your emotions go for a second. We've got this massive protest on Saturday, right? That's going to be well documented. You know, there's going to be so much noise around Manchester United and Glazers out on Saturday. They're doing a 60-minute sit-in at Old Trafford for the Nottingham Forest game. That's obviously going to cause ripples throughout the internet. All the rest of it, Glazers out will be trending. Next week, the Glazers miraculously pull £100 million out of you-know-where. You wait for it. You wait for it. We'll all be sat here next week saying, oh, they're on a mad one. They're just trying to fool us. They are. And you know what the Glazers always do? They prolong things. They prolong things to keep us quiet and to make sure that we don't ask for more than what we're going to get. So next week, we probably get Amrabat for 30 million euros. We probably get Grafenberg on loan, and we probably get a striker as well. I would not be surprised. And yeah, thank you for your super chat, Acid Red Devil. And I completely agree with you, because that is just what that's just what the Glazers do every single year. Right, let's read out a couple more questions. We've only got about 5 minutes left of the video. Right, Irvin says this. Irvin says 3 points against Old Trafford is 100%. If we can't beat them at Old Trafford, then we have a massive problem. At that moment, I will be Eric Ten Hag out. I'm not going to be Eric Ten Hag out if we lose to Nottingham Forest. I won't be. Come on. Are you really going to be Eric Ten Hag out if we lose to Nottingham Forest? I'm not, but it's up to you, mate. Obviously, it's up to you. I can't tell you what to think. That's not something I'm ever going to do on this channel. I can give you my opinion and I can tell you how I'm feeling about things, but I'm not going to say that you're wrong for saying that type of thing. But I just think that we've got to give him time. We've spoke about this so many times on the shows, guys. Mikel Arteta, Jurgen Klopp, all of these other managers are so much further behind where Eric Ten Hag is at this point, if you compared it versus where they were a year into their stance, you know? So just remember that. Arsenal fans had the Mikel Arteta t-shirts printed. Mikel Arteta out t-shirts printed. They did. They had them. They were walking around the Emirates with Mikel Arteta out. 6 months later, they're saying he's the best manager in the world. Just remember that, all right? Things can change very, very quickly in football. But yeah. Patrick says, do you think Manchester United will sign Amrabat before the end of the transfer window? Yeah, I think we will. I do. I think we've gone through all the questions. Yeah, we have. We've gone through all the questions. So I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Thank you so much to everybody who has been part of this show tonight. We will, of course, be back at 8 a.m. UK time tomorrow for your morning show. If anything breaks between now and tomorrow morning, of course, we will go live. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell. And please do smash a like on the video on your way out. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all later.